With Ruben still at fire camp in the Klamath National Forest, I'm focused on sowing winter cover crops here in our pasture and also focusing on the chicken coop and the chickens to get them ready for the colder months ahead. Now the fire is 80% contained, but it's definitely not over yet. There is still plenty for Ruben to do as the fire response teams continue to gain control over the hot spots in the surrounding area.
So what's going on right now is we're having our morning briefing. Basically just getting told what's going on with the fire, what our goals are for today, and weather updates, things like that. Once everybody gets their game plan, they basically take care of it during the day. So now what I'm doing is checking up on all these people when it comes to their morning run. Basically just going to talk to them and see how their trucks are going, if they need anything, if they have any repairs that they've been putting off, and just basically making sure everybody's ready to go when they go outside, because if I get a call about them being up in the hill, well, then I got to go up there. But I'd rather fix them here than all the way up there. It's roughly 7:30, and I got 2 leaf springs to replace. Hopefully I get this sooner than later because they don't like noise past 8 o'clock. So this is the tomfoolery that they did. They shoved a block of wood and a wheel chuck with straps to hold it in place. So it broke the leaf spring completely off. It's supposed to look like this. And just like that, she's done. This is the showers that we get to use. They're pretty big. Got a little chair. So I just got a call for a fire engine that will not start. So join me in this wonderful adventure. And just like that, Jesus. Had to jump start their truck, and now I get to go back to camp. Oh, slowly go back to camp. Still got a little bit of hot spots, but nothing crazy.
So right now we are having to feed the chickens in the morning, and then we take their food out at night because we were leaving their feed in one of their feeders. I actually have one right here. We were leaving that in overnight and we noticed some mouse droppings in there, so we definitely don't want to attract mice hanging out. Now granted, chickens can eat mice and they do eat mice, but we don't want the mice and their droppings to be hanging out regularly because they carry diseases. And of course, we don't want them to start nesting in the chicken coop or the chicken run. So we started removing their feed every night and then bringing it back the next morning. And that's not that big of a deal. But soon the weather is going to start getting very, very cold. And we want to make sure that they have feed on hand whenever they want to, because they need to keep their energy levels up. And there may be some times when we're not able to get out at the crack of dawn to go give them their feed or be home in time to pull it back in. So we need another solution. So we've been doing a little bit of research, and we think we have come up with one solution that will work for us. And comes in this handy dandy here package. Actually, there are 2 in there, and then so it comes with a total of 3. And you can apply it to a 5-gallon bucket, or on the other side, it has a picture of a plastic container. So I'm going to be using this bucket. We tried to implement this watering mechanism for the chickens before. They couldn't figure out the little mechanism. I got them another water feeding mechanism. They still can't figure it out. I don't know what I can do to help them figure it out. Now I understand the term bird brain because as sweet as they are, they're not always the most intelligent when it comes to things. They can figure out there's water in there, but they can't figure out how to get it out. I even tried going in with a little laser pointer, and they will follow the laser pointer right up to it and start pecking at it, but they can't figure out how to poke the little silver button to release the water. Anyhow, this is a watering mechanism here, but I am going to repurpose this bucket as a grain feeder. Now, hopefully when we put this into play, the chickens can't figure this out. So that unscrews, super easy. This goes in with the lip overhanging, and this just gets screwed in on the back. So I decided just to leave this on. It's not exactly the right height that I was hoping for. I need to go a tiny little bit higher, so I'm just gonna leave that on and drill a different hole over here. And after cleaning off all of those plastic pieces and shards, I gave the bucket a good rinse with soapy water and then tested the bucket with a little bit of grain to see how the chickens would like it. I have it up on this to elevate it. That way, hopefully, mice can't climb up this section. I don't know if it's tall enough. I don't know. Anyway. Let's see how you all do. I'm gonna switch your food in here. Look. I'm gonna confuse you all for a little bit. Is their absolute favorite. So I'm going to see if this lures them in. Okay, you guys see it. Putting it in here. I'm going to put some of those soldier fly larvae here. Okay, I've removed my eye protective wear and this mask here. The bedding that we're using is pine shavings, and it's a totally fine bedding system, but it does create a lot of dust, and we do have sand and dirt as our coop floor, so there's just a lot of dust going on. Plus their manure has dried up, and that kind of dust is not the dust that I want to be breathing. So as I'm kicking it all up and cleaning out their coop area, I just want to be sure I'm not inhaling any of that. So with that being said, what I'm doing is getting their coop, hello, hi Blue, I'm getting their coop ready for winter time. So we're going to try the deep bed method to where I'm not having to clean out their coop every few weeks. But the pine shavings that we had in there for the most part were relatively clean, but I took a little bit more than a third out, I would say, and I moved that over to our compost pile. That way that can start breaking down. But I'm going to replace what I took out with hemp here. The bag's upside down. So the reason that we're using hemp for the deep litter method over the wintertime is because during the winter, we're going to get a lot more precipitation. There's going to be a lot more humidity. And the key to keeping chickens warm and healthy is to make sure their coop stays dry. So by doing the deep litter method, we are allowing the bedding itself to actually start composting down with their added manure, and especially all the nitrogen that they're adding to it. But the hemp will absorb the moisture a lot quicker than pine shavings do. And there's also a lot less dust that is created, or so I'm reading and so I'm learning. Hemp is a lot more expensive than pine shavings, which is why we're not doing all hemp, because that would be a very large dent in the chicken budget. So we figured by doing sort of half and half, it at least will kind of just balance it out. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe in another month or two, we'll get another couple of bags and see how it is. But for right now, yeah, we're half pine and half hemp. So this section is done. What do you think, Blue? So she was a bluish gray color when she was a cute little fuzzy chick. So I started calling her Blue as a chick, and then as she got older, we started calling her Lucia, Andalucia, Blue Andalou, Lou, you name it. They all kind of work. I'm calling her Blue more now. So, yeah. Go on, Sophia. You're the last one. There you go, girl. So when it comes to chickens and laying eggs, their nesting boxes, what we've learned is that you ideally shouldn't make them available to them. It's quite echoey because he's right there while they're not yet ready to lay eggs. I hope that makes sense. Because before they have that instinct to lay eggs, they'll treat these nesting boxes as places to roost. And if they get trained to do that, they may start going to the bathroom in there. So the last thing we want them to do is dissociate egg laying and going to the bathroom, because we don't want compromised or dirty eggs at that point. So we've been keeping these juniper rounds in here to sort of block them off, but they're getting close to that point of being ready to lay. And so we're making one nesting box available to them. So we're using these nesting pads instead of just wood shavings or straw. Those are totally fine, but I guess these are a little bit more comfortable for them, and it also will prevent them from kind of burying the egg to where it's very obvious that we can see the egg if they lay something. And yeah, I guess it just stays dry because it tends to stay aerated a little bit more in there. And once they do start laying in here, we'll definitely be adding some herbs. I've been collecting herbs from our garden and drying them, so those will definitely be utilized over the winter. Now, we don't know how much egg production we're actually going to get, because chickens slow down egg production over the wintertime. It's just natural when it's cold. We know that we can supplement heat and light in there to increase their egg production, but I'd kind of like to keep them in a natural rhythm if possible. So we may get some eggs this coming October and November, but it probably will slow down, and then we can expect to see a normal amount of eggs that they lay come springtime. So yeah, one nesting box, and maybe we'll get one egg in the near future. So I've been asked to give a little update here of how the chickens are doing. They're doing just fine. Hopefully egg production will come in the next couple of weeks, but they're all doing great. This white one here is Sophia, She was the one who was sick before, and we treated her with electrolytes and additional supplements and vitamins, and she came back and she's as feisty as ever. And she's also kind of the smartest one of the bunch. So Sophia happens to mean wisdom also.
Picture this, Sicily, 1922. The village is in a terrible wine crisis.
We don't know what breed she is. She is not what we actually ordered from the hatchery. And I never called the hatchery to find out. If anybody knows, let me know. She has kind of bluish, grayish legs. We're waiting for her comb to fully grow out. If it is red, she may be an American Bress, I think it is. But we're not sure. Anyway, we have these speckled ones. We have the rooster and the black and white one. Those are silver-laced Wyandottes. And her name is Henrietta. No pun intended. Actually, pun intended. And he is Mr. Roo. And then we have Blue Andalou in the back, Andalusia. And then the two buff-colored ones, the buff Menorcans. We're going between, we like Lucy and Ethel. It makes sense, but we already have kind of a Lucia, so Lucy and Lucia. I don't know if that's too many Lucys hanging out in the bunch. The other option was sort of Wilma and Betty. So they each have two names at this point, but they're doing great. Okay, but I do have a question for those of you who have chickens or who have had chickens. So this is mainly sand, and I put in fresh grass clippings here pretty regularly for them to scratch and peck at. But my question is, for those of you who have had this kind of chicken coop floor before, during the winter time, if you have found that it gets very cold and or wet, obviously depending on what the winter weather is doing. I just don't know if I should put additional grass or straw in here or leave it as is. My concern is if I put straw in, that can hold on to moisture a little bit more if it gets matted. But I also think that they're probably going to be scratching a lot more. So it may just not even be an issue. So if any of you have any ideas on what to do here, if I should do anything at all, please let us know. I'm open to hearing any comments about this. And so is Mr. Roo. Okay, I feel like the wind is going to kick up as soon as I start talking. Hopefully it doesn't. I'll try to get through this fairly quickly. So I'm standing in front of part of our pasture that's here near our house, as you can see. And it may be kind of strange to you that we are actually still running our irrigation, especially right before the colder months are coming. And also, we don't have animals that graze our pasture. So what are we doing? Well, our hope is in the future to have some ruminants over here grazing, but we currently don't have healthy pasture for them to do so. So, I'm sure that's pretty loud. So last year, what we did is we sowed some winter cover crops, specifically hairy vetch, trefoil, and clover. And we just tested it out in a couple of plots, and it grew very well. It survived the winter, and it helped to establish itself and prevent the grasses that we don't want, specifically foxtail and cheatgrass. Those didn't grow as much in those areas. So the clover, the vetch, and the trefoil has also self-seeded. It has continued to grow. So we're hoping to help it along even more, because the more we can have these great pasture grasses and the less we can have those other ones that we don't want that create burrs that stick into your socks and animal fur and all of that, the better. And it lasts a long time. Clover is also drought tolerant. It's frost tolerant. It's great. I know most people don't like it in their lawns, but out here, we totally want it. Plus, all of that is nitrogen fixing magic stuff. And that's what we want here, because the previous owners, they used to graze cattle here, but they overgrazed it to the point of the pasture grasses becoming unhealthy, and the soil became unhealthy as well. And the soil became very compacted. So we're just trying to get everything back into a healthy state. So what I've been doing is focusing on scatter sowing here. Now, we don't have access to great machinery for farming. We're doing this on a bootstrap budget and manually. So everything takes a long time for us. And that means a lot of manual work. That means raking and digging and all of that fun stuff. So it's a slow process for us, but it's working. Now, We started with some smaller plots last year and we've extended it to a couple other plots this year. We've also added a winter rye grass. So that is in the far section over there. I don't know that you can really tell. It's greening up. So hopefully all of this just gets established before the winter frosts come in. So I'm gonna do this walking and talking to hopefully cover the microphone from the wind with my hand. I want to add, now we're not able to till. Ideally, we wouldn't want to till anyway, but in our situation, it kind of would be helpful just because it's so compacted. But we are utilizing, here comes a riser, I'm standing in between two. Okay, I'm safe. We're utilizing those annoying ground digging rodents and vermin that people don't really like. I'm gonna run here. It's gonna get me. Like ground squirrels, groundhogs, gophers, and all that, because they actually dig up the soil and they serve a purpose in nature. I know they're annoying for our awesome lawns, but they serve a purpose, and that is creating aeration in the soil that it desperately needs. So, in addition to just scatter sowing and hoping that the seed to soil contact germination rate is better than nothing, I'm utilizing those areas that has bare earth, and I'm sowing those seeds there, and I'm putting that dirt right back over itself and then irrigating. And strangely enough, it's working. Those little plots where I'm putting those seeds, where the gophers have dug up or whatever it is, seeds are germinating. So hopefully those continue to sprout and grow before our first winter frost. Well, family, this is what we have been up to around here. It's tough getting everything ready for winter with Ruben being at fire camp, but fortunately, we still have a little bit of time before the real cold sets in. Our days are still warm, but the nights are getting more chilly and much more comfortable. And Ruben should be back soon to tackle the winter is coming honey-do list. Check back next week for the update. As always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week. So yeah, we'll start see. I put in fresh grass.